So today's our topic is handling the runtime configuration changes. Okay, so let me create some things. Our image view, so that would be at the center, image view. Now if you can check it, providing the resources. Now what it does exactly, Android is having multiple types of the resources, right? And you can decide the resources as per the configuration. If you go to the Android, select it to the Android project perspective and not the Android. This is the Android perspective, this is the project perspective. Select it, and here you can check orientation handling module, this source, main, resources. Can you find this HDPI, MDPI, XHDPI, double XHDPI and triple XHDPI? These are the densities kind of configuration. Means what you are saying, if density of my phone is HDPI, if density of my phone is MDPI, if density of my phone is XHDPI, then select these folders automatically. As per the density, your folders are going to get selected. Now who decided this, right? Now who has decided this? So there is one chart. If you go over here, can you see this thing? The configuration qualifier names. Here you will find configuration qualifier names, right? So MCC, MNC is one configuration. Then language, for the language, this is one configuration. French likewise. Means you are going to create some resource in this fashion. See, I'll show you. If you say that you need to have the layout which is dependent on the orientation configuration. So what you will do is that layout hyphen name of the resource hyphen name of the configuration. If you are thinking for the density, you can say MDPI. Means if your phone density is MDPI, this folder is going to get selected automatically. So if you think that if it is a orientation, say landscape, for the landscape this would be getting selected. For the portrait, this would be getting selected, land and the port. These are the two configurations, landscape and the portrait. You can check it over here. Just go below in this chart. Remember that this chart is very much important. Your one resource can have multiple qualifiers. Make sure that this is called as resource and this is called as qualifier. Resource and the qualifier. So this is the resource and this is the qualifier. So qualifier can be multiple. Say this Q1, I'll say qualifier as Q1, then Q2 and much more. Q1, Q2. So Q1 can be represented by one of this thing like this, MCC 310. So you can say that layout for the MCC 310. MCC is nothing but the mobile country code. 310 is for the US. You can see 310 is for the US. So this is a specified list. They have already given. But make sure that sequence is important. MCC 310 will always come before land or the port. So you are saying that if mobile is in the US and it is in the landscape mode, please select this layout resource. Consider that this MCC say 510 is another country, and for the portrait you are saying that if mobile is in this country and it is in the portrait mode, kindly select this. Make sure that this portrait will never come in the place of this until and unless portrait is the only qualifier. If you have the sequence of the qualifiers, the sequence in the table is very important. So MCC will always come before the language. Okay, then layout direction will always come after the region and the language. Means like this, layout hyphen English hyphen your, what you can say, this thing, this layout direction. Likewise, sequence is important. Okay, now presently what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a drawable resource for the orientation, right? Make sure that you are going to keep one resource. You are going to keep one resource which is default. This resource will never have any qualifier, and such a resource is called as default resource. The resource with qualifier is called as alternative resource. If, let me create new drawable, see where is that, new Android resource directory. What you are going to create, please select, I want to create drawable, right? I want to create the drawable and which, what you can say, orientation. Here is the orientation. Select this and say next. Which orientation? Portrait, landscape, or the square? Square is for your watches, remember that. Portrait, landscape. Say the portrait and say OK. And if you observe this drawable which is coming with one configuration qualifier, which is coming is nothing but what? Configuration qualifier, drawable port. Similarly, I will create drawable-land. Right click, new resource directory, then you can say drawable for the orientation. See, these many are the qualifiers. You can select any one of them. These many are nothing but what? Qualifiers. Presently, I am dealing with the orientation. See, next we have seen the portrait, then the landscape, and say OK. Right? Portrait, landscape, and the OK. So what I'll do is that I'll go to the Google and search for Hulk. If make sure that you would be having little bit smaller image, few image, and you can download it. Save image as desktop. Save it. Right? I would be having another Hulk. Yes, this. Okay, so view image and say save image as desktop. Right, I would be having two images. Fine. So in the one drawable, I will keep one. See this, and make sure that name of the resource you can define it like this. Say Hulk.png. Copy this. And you can paste it over here. Hulk. Say yes. Another image is this. Second one. Let me delete this because you cannot have two images. Hulk like this. Copy this. Make sure that your image name would be the same in both the cases. Your image name should be the same, but content would be different. Your content can be different, but image name should be the same. Okay, so instead in this drawable, I'll copy this IC_launcher, say copy, and you can paste it over here. See this. So if there is a nothing, right, if there is a nothing, it will select this image, refractor, and rename, say Hulk. Okay, so this is your IC_launcher. If there is a nothing landscape, it is a neither landscape nor portrait, it will automatically select this thing. Right, so I'll go over here, and SRC source is nothing but the Hulk, only one. Right, according to density, here it is going to come as per the density. Right, presently not as per the density, it is as per the landscape or the portrait. As per the orientation, it is going to come. Okay, we have started the emulator. Let me run the build and see what happens. see the changes. If I am going to make from orientation, from portrait to the landscape, it is going to be changed, right? Handling the runtime configuration change in the Android style. This is how Android handle by changing the configuration qualifiers. But there is one problem with this. There is one problem with this. Every time it is going to destroy the activity and recreate the activity. Let me write one method, private void empty, which is nothing but the toast and say message like this, not MSG over here, like this, and say toast message like this. So inside onCreate, what I do is that empty, and you can say onCreate, right? Let me do onCreate, and onDestroy. Here you can have empty, onDestroy. You'll come to know, means we have seen yesterday only, right? After changing the orientation or after getting runtime change, your activity is getting recreated. I am losing the state over here. So this way is going to recreate your activity. See, this way is going to recreate your activity. If I want to, can you see onCreate? See, onDestroy has been called and then onCreate. It is recreating the activity. Means it is doing everything again. It is a recreating, onDestroy and onCreating, which is a heavier process for the Android. I want to stop my application from being recreating. I want to stop this activity being recreated. How should I do that? If I want to do that, I need to do something else. So you are saying Android to handle the runtime changes by providing alternative resources. You are saying Android by providing alternative resources. I don't want to provide the alternative resources. I want to handle the runtime changes on my own. Android is handling by killing the activity. So it is going to kill, and again it is going to have the set content view, and then it will select another folder and it will show you one image view to you, right? So how you will do that thing? Okay, let me create the new module file and say new module, and to this say next. Here I will say own handling. I'll say own. I'm going to handle on my own. Next, and say finish. I would be handling the runtime changes on my own. I would be handling the runtime changes on my own. How to do that thing? We'll see soon. Handling configuration changes by own. So how to do that? So if you want to handle the configuration changes on your own, you would be doing some changes in the manifest file, right? In the manifest file, you will go to the activity tag and you will make some changes like this, not this. These are some indentation changes. Here you will go and you will say config changes. Config changes. Which configuration you want to see? Can you see MCC, MNC, whatever chart you have seen, all the chart you can see over here. All the configuration qualifiers are here. Whenever Android will see this tag is enabled for your activity, it will understand that this configuration changes would be handled by own, right? See that app only. Own means nothing but the app. App will handle the changes. Okay, now see how you are going to do that thing? Orientation, can you see? Pipe, screen, size. If you want to listen for the orientation changes, you need to provide these two, pipe, the screen size. If you want to do orientation, screen size and country code, then you can say MCC. Likewise, you would be, in the earlier it was the hyphen separated, and here it was a pipe separated. This is nothing but what the pipe is. Okay, save it. Now here you are going to override one more method called as onConfig changes or onConfiguration changed, and here you would be getting new changed configuration. Here there would be new configuration. So here you are going to write a simple if loop, new config dot orientation is exactly equals to configuration dot orientation landscape or orientation would be portrait. This else is nothing but your default configuration. If none of them, this block is going to get executed. Let's have the image view over here. I'll try to recreate last scenario only. So instead of image text view, let's have image view. You can have ID @+ID image center. You can say match parent and match parent, right? And don't provide source presently. Source would be decided on the configuration change. Let's have two images. Presently we have Hulk, orientation change. Let me go to the main resource, this drawable. Let me copy this, copy, and let me paste it into the drawable. See, now I am not creating a separate folders. Everything would be in a one folder with a different name, Hulk 1. Do I have any other image? Resource. Okay, and I have copied which one? Same one. Okay, this one. Let me copy. On the desktop, we have already Hulk 1. I'll say. Let me copy this Hulk 1 to the drawable. This. Say this. Right, now here you are going to find view by ID r.id.image center, typecast it to the image view. It is better to write a separate method dot set image resource r.drawable.hulk. This one, same method I'll write over here, r.drawable.hulk1, and else I am going to provide some map kind of thing or our icon. So it is a good habit to have alternative thing, IC_launcher, like this. Let me run the code and see what happens. Same thing, but here activity wouldn't be recreated, right? Activity is not going to get recreated, it is going to be restarted. On restart, method would be getting called. See this. It is loading. So on configuration changed. whenever your configuration of the phone is going to get changed, this method is going to get called, and here you are checking if new configuration dot orientation is landscape, do this thing or assign this image. If portrait, assign this image, or none of them, assign this image, right? This and this, like that. So images are getting changed, and you have handled the configuration this time. You have handled this change, and you have not left on the Android. This is the first difference that you need to understand, right? So this is about handling runtime changes by your own and by your Android. So this is under the topic providing the resources. You need to provide the resources to run your application on different environments. If you want to run same APK on phone as well as the tablet, you would be providing some another resource. So you would be creating one layout resource, one for mobile and one for tablet. Now who is going to decide? That is going to be decided by your that qualifier. Your APK is running on the tablet or APK is running on the phone. That is going to be decided by the qualifier, like this. So we have seen this thing how to handle by your own and leave it to the Android, right? That's it.